today's video, I'm going to show you how I painted this scene of a home with a picket fence, with a garden, and it just looks like a very nice home to live in. And I painted it almost entirely with watercolor, but I did use gouache for the flowers. But I'll show you how I did that. But before I do that, I want to talk to you a little bit about the cards themselves, why I do the cards, who I do the cards for, and share with you something I found online from somebody I don't know, but it sounds like a good website for you to explore. I'm going to show you that website. So first, the reason I do these cards is for people who may be homebound or maybe who need a little joy. There's like a fad right now. I don't know if you call it a fad, but there's a thing that, you always hear bad things that kids are doing. Well, there's something good that kids are doing. You always hear bad things about social media, but there's some good things that is happening with social media and with kids. And they call it pebbling. I think one of the things about our newer generation is they like to label things. So this is called pebbling. And pebbling is simply sending a note, in this case on social media, to somebody that just says something. Let's say, hey, I just want to let you know that you're awesome. Or, hey, I just want to, and that it's not flirting. This isn't a way for a boy to meet a girl or a girl to meet a boy or whatever. This is just kids encouraging one another. And I think it's really nice. Now, the word pebbling comes from penguins. Well, the word doesn't, but I don't know the whole story here, but from what I understand, penguins will put little stones at the foot of somebody they want to say hi to. Maybe to mate, maybe it's a mating ritual, okay? But I don't think pebbling with the kids is necessarily that. It could be a boy to a boy, and it has no romantic connection, or a girl to a girl. It's just a way to make somebody feel great. Like, let's say, sometimes one kid gets more attention in school and the other kid doesn't. Well, maybe there's a person who notices that, and kids are just young adults, and they're doing the same things that we as older adults do. So sending a card to somebody is just an awesome idea. Just imagine yourself going out to the mailbox, opening up the envelope, and you find a card. It doesn't have to be a card that somebody painted themselves. It could be a card you bought at Walgreens. Just a little note that you hand wrote and says, just thinking of you. Just want you to know that somebody's thinking about you, that I appreciate your talents, that you're an amazing mother, that I've watched you and you've got such a brilliant smile, without trying to sound flirtatious or anything, just saying something to somebody. So the cards, the church that Robin and I go to have this program where they ask people to send cards, and they don't ask people to paint their own cards, but Robin and I chose to do that ourselves. So I have painted a lot of cards, and a lot of cards I've sent out and a lot of cards I haven't. So I want to show you. So I'm just showing you that one. That's the one I just did today. That's one you're going to see how I painted it in today's video. And there's that one, pretty simple one. And then there's, let's see, this one of a tent and a hammock somewhere out in the woods. And I've just done so many of them, and I know I've shared a lot of my cards with a lot of you before. And we just send them. Robin does her own cards. In fact, I want to work with Robin on one of these videos. I want to show you how she does hers. She doesn't, she'll take a card and then she'll also paste glue things to them to make them sparkle. So I'm going to show you how I did this card. Give me a second first. So I want to go first to the internet, okay? So I'm going to go to a site called sherryburbach.com. There's the the head right there. That's the URL. That's what they call it, right? Oh, here we go. Let me start this. I think I started it, didn't I? Okay, now this is, see where it says start a card ministry? And she writes, I have always loved writing and receiving cards. So for many years I have done an informal card ministry where I regularly write cards to friends and sometimes strangers in order to give them a positive message they can keep. In today's world of texts and electronic messaging, a physical card you can hold in your hand and keep stands out. So she's got this whole thing on her website, sherryburback.com, about starting a card ministry. I won't read the whole thing to you, but this is her site. And I believe she does a lot of her cards herself. She paints them just like I do and Robin does. And she sends them out. And then I wanted to show you, she gives some advice, and I don't really think she's selling you anything. Maybe she's selling you her art a little bit. I'm not really sure. But anyway, you don't have to. I mean, you can do it your own self. Just it costs whatever it costs to buy a card, to make a card, and send it out. But anyway, if you look right here, she's got Dayspring Card Ministry as a link where you can buy cards. Of course, you can buy cards anywhere. And then her Pinterest board. But the middle one, look at this, Love Notes Fairy. I'm going to click on that. It says here, a woman who connects card ministry writers to recipients. So you'll get names of people who perhaps could benefit by getting a card, get a little joy out of getting a card. So I want to click on that and show you. So this is another website, Jennifer Beltoff. Is that how you say her name? JenniferBeltoff.com. And this is what she says. Spread snail mail love. Make someone's day by the simple act of sending snail mail. Are you up for making someone's day and sending a bit of love and hope through the mail? The power of words is incredible, and sharing these words, even with a stranger, makes an incredible difference. One simple card letting someone know they aren't alone can lift them up and change their day. I just love that. And then she says how it works. Sign below to become a fairy. On the first Saturday of every month, you will receive an email with a list of nominees for that month. This is when your secret mission begins. You can choose to write to one, a few, or to all of the nominees. Grab a postcard, a note card, or even an old-fashioned piece of paper and an envelope and write your note and drop it in the mail. And then you can sign up to be a notes fairy. And this is her site here. I just love these two, the two websites that these two ladies have put together. And I'll share I'll share the URL, the website links in the description under this video. And then you can, and you can do your own if you just get together with a couple of other people and make your own. Maybe get together with a church or a foster home or maybe even the jail. Maybe there's somebody out there that you'll reach that nobody knew how to reach, and you'll touch them. So I know. The question always comes up, how do you make money with the art? And although I really mostly make money from prints, not from the originals. The originals usually get sent out. So I know my intro today is longer than normal, but I wanted to share that with you. And now, it took about an hour to paint this. So if you want to watch it, it's coming up now. You can scrub through it and watch the parts that help you. And I'll try to put some pretty music on here so that you can relax, you can meditate, just enjoy the video. All right, thank you for watching as always, and I'm going to show you how I did that one right now. Okay, well, to do this one we have to do a couple of little basic things first. As you probably know about the horizon and the vanishing point. If you don't, this is a super quick demonstration of that. So I'm going to put a horizon in here. I don't have to put the whole paper because the horizon is basically obscured by everything in the picture. But there's my horizon. It's a straight line. And now we're going to put the top of the building. I think I want to put the horizon vanishing point like right there. So there's the point. That's what we want the building dimensions to point to. So about halfway down, and then the bottom of the building again has to point to that. Okay, and then the side of the building has to be, I guess, like that. We'll just kind of guess at it. Now the roof of the building, again, everything has to point toward that line, that little dot right there. Okay, so there's the roof of the building, and it comes out like this and goes up, just so we see that. It's important because of the shadows that happen later on. And then let's put some of these windows in here. The windows have they all share the same line. So I'm just going to put one, and I'll break them up in a second. And then there are two heights to the windows. There's a short window and then some long ones. So I'll put the short one up there and put a couple of long ones over here. Okay. Now let's put a straight line here for the edge of that window. And here, just very skinny looking. It's an illusion, of course. And then this one a little fatter because it's closer to the viewer. Okay. And then this one here, we're going to put like this. Make sure these lines are all parallel to one another. And there's our windows. So we have, don't forget, the tops of the windows are visible from this angle, and the sides of the windows are visible from this angle. And that's not a window right there, so I made a mistake already. So let's get rid of that middle one, because that's not a window. And that line's no longer necessary. So now we have our building with our 3 windows. In the reference photo there are 4, but I'm just going to keep 3. And then this roof here has a little bit of a design to it. So let's just do these little circles, these little squiggly lines, I guess you might say. Just follow that line. There we go. And then down here is mostly going to be dark. And then down here, this is kind of the fun part, where we want the shadow to have this look here. The same look as the rooftop tiles, those Spanish tiles. And over here we're going to be able to see a little bit of that window frame. And this one will go all the way up to there because the light is coming that far down. Same with over here. Okay, these are just guidelines so we remember. We want to put a few trees back here. There's a tree in the background right there. And we want to put a lot of flowers and greenery on the building itself. So we'll put that there. We don't really need this line. It's going to be obscured. And then in the background, we're going to put a little bit of a hill or a mountain. And then some trees here. And this is a garden, so we want this whole area here to be that picket fence. This is where we do the picket fence. So we're just gonna draw all these little pickets, all these slats, and put them in here. I kind of wanted to follow this line here and then end in some hedges so it doesn't go all the way. But there's some foreground hedges right here, and this also has somewhat of a vanishing point effect to it, but it doesn't lead to that same little dot over there. So we can do this. We can put some leaves over here, obscuring some of this fence over here also. Okay, so let's just go ahead and put the top of these picket fence, make them smaller as they go further down. Make sure we have some of them, we can see them, we can see through them. Some of them are crooked. It's not a perfect fence. And it does have flowers growing over it too. So we want to make sure we remember that. And then down here at the bottom, we have these rocks. So this is kind of a very diverse kind of a painting. Got a lot of things going on in it, and let's hope we can pull it off. Let's hope we can pull this off. So there's the rocks and there's the trees. Okay, so now we have our rough sketch of what we want. Now let's start putting paint on it. So the sketch itself took about 7 minutes. I apologize for one of the videos I did that was not focused on the paper. I am so sorry. That was so frustrating to me. I couldn't undo that, of course, other than deleting the file. I didn't want to do that. Okay, so first I'm just going to put wet on dry. I don't really need to do wet on wet right here. Just get some dry blues into the sky. And I can do the whole sky really. It's not much of it, just this area right here. The sky, by the way, is blue, and the shadows on the building are also blue, but they're a darker blue. So I'm going to show you that in a second. I want to do those first. So just get this sky painted in there. Look nice and blue. It can be a little bit darker or richer. I say richer. I think richer is a better word than darker. Okay, now, see this area here? This is all going to be shadows. First I want to do a violet color. Is this violet right here? Yeah. So this is very light violet color. I know this is going to seem counterintuitive, but this is actually going to be the white part of the house. I know, you're thinking, why making it purple then? Or violet, why are you doing that? Well, because it's truly not white. The fence is kind of white. And I just want to make this very light wash of violet. And you'll see later on that it appears to be white. I know, right now it doesn't. So, I do have a poem, by the way, today. Do you know the song, Grow Old With Me by John Lennon? So I love that song. Well, John Lennon wrote that song, and he himself said, I think, that it was inspired by a poem by Robert Browning. So I want to kind of look at that one for a little bit. Let me try and think now where to put some of this purple. I think some of this purple will also work down here on some of these rocks. Again, this is the light part of the rock. Well, I guess that would be the dark part right there. And we kind of do both parts of the rocks here, the dark and the light. I was mostly concerned about the white on the house there. So John Lennon had the poem by Robert Browning called Rabbi Ben Ezra. And I'm going to read it later on, but I just want to tell you the first lines. Are you ready? Grow old along with me, the best is yet to be. Same first lines as John Lennon's song. So that's where he got his inspiration. He didn't copy it, and of course he wrote the melody and made it his own. But I want to read to you the whole poem later on. Right now I want to do the shadows on here. And the shadows on the house are are blue, but they're a darker blue. I know. So let's just work that and put that in there. And we can always come back and desaturate the blue a little bit, which is what I want to do. But I want to put all of this shadow up here at the bottom of the eave of the house. And just get these dark blues in here. Sometimes I use purple as the shadow, but I think in this case, blue seems to be what I want to use. It's a decision that you can make too. We can all decide what color. I think the idea of what color to use for shadows is up to you. And if you experiment with it a little bit, you will see that sometimes brown works, or sometimes gray works. You know, it's always different. But you know, that's a little bit. So what is the opposite of blue? Which is orange, right? So I'm going to add a little bit of orange to that, and then darken that, or desaturate the blue with that orange. Make it less blue and more uncertain, almost like a gray. And that's going to be our shadows on this house. I'm going to use gouache for a lot of these flowers. I think that works out nicely because the gouache can be so rich. But right now I just want to put these shadows on the house. I think the shadows are so important here. So is keeping the perspective, keeping those lines heading in the right direction. That's pretty important here. So again, I'm orange and blue, I'm mixing it together. And I'm going to make this darker up here even still. So this will be probably need to come back to after it dries. Can you see it? Is my hand in the way? Oh, please, I don't want to make it out of focus again. Okay. All right, there's that. Let's see. I want to take the little brush. I want to get some of those little curves in there, because that's part of where the light is reflecting also. Little tiny areas here. And those tiles, those like Spanish tiles or whatever they're called, up on the roof, they are orange in color. So I want to make sure I put them on there too. So let's get that orange on there. And put that right on there, right on the edge there. The light is hitting that too. Okay. Alright, now let's go ahead and get some of this very deep color and add it to these windows here. Trying to make it almost like a very deep purple with using red and blue together. I don't want to use black, I just want to get red and blue. And remember these windows, let's see, the windows themselves are dark, but the bottom of the window frame is visible because of the sunlight hitting it. So that's what we want to do. Get that in there. Make sure the bottom of the window is visible. There we go. Just get that dark in there. Make it even darker. And same over here. Okay, the windows are dark, but the frame is lit because you can't really see into the house. It's so bright. There we go. There we go, make it darker. Okay, more dark there, right there. Just kind of work it. Just kind of paint it. You know, when you're using watercolor, you can use it any way you want. I think it's good to just have fun and make a nice painting. Make a nice painting for somebody. Do you hear the birds? Do you hear the birds outside? Okay. There we go. Okay. Now let's add some more darkness to the background. We want some of this tree in here. This tree off to the background. Goes right to the bottom of the house. And we're going to keep it in the shade and also in the light. So it's kind of got a mixture of yellows and greens. And if you look at the reference photo, you'll see that I'm not really sticking to the reference photo 100%. Just a little. Just enough to give me something to work with, to look at. There's the green. There's the yellow green, I should say. I'm going to keep a little bit of white on top of that roof right there. I'm just not going to connect it completely with the roof. I'm going to keep a little bit of that white right there. There we go. Over here we can connect it. And we definitely want to make this darker. Yeah, we'll be able to do that, that's okay. It's darker in here. Just get it right there. Spread it around a little bit. just let that watercolor dry there. There's our bush right there. Okay, now let's get some of those mountains in the background. Again, I'm going to use blue. I'm going to blend it down with a red, make it a little purple. So these are the mountains in the background. Okay. Okay, I want to make under the roof a lot darker right there. Now that it's dried, I'm going to put some more depth, more richness to it. So here we go. Let me try to keep my hand out of the picture as much as I can. I'm still learning about this whole video thing, by the way. I just was so disappointed the other day that I lost the focus. The focus was on my hand and not on the painting. I'm so sorry about that. I kept the video up though because I thought maybe you could see it enough. But I really messed up on that one, didn't I? Okay, some of these windows, just try to make the windows more windowy. More look like windows. Boy, there's a happy bird out there this morning. It always sounds like they're happy when they whistle like that, right? Sounds like they're happy. Here we go. There's our windows. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. And then I'll come back to it with a little bit of light blue. But right now that's our shadows and our windows. I'm going to use some dark green. Now I'm going to place some bushes up against the house. And I'm going to put them kind of everywhere. Keep a lot of light shining through it. There's all kinds of different shades of yellow. I'm yellow, well, sort of yellow, of green. Just want to put some bushes all over this house here. There's a garden. There's a garden at this house. So 23 minutes into it. I'm trying to do this one relatively quickly, although I knew in advance that this was going to be a little bit of a challenge and a little bit of a time-consuming one. I want these flowers, these bushes to climb way up onto the house. Can you see it now that the violet, the light purple? Can you see it now? How that looks like the house is going to still look white? I guess not yet. It still looks purple, right? Well, give me some time. I'll get there. And of course, we want to make these the dark areas at the bottom. The little shaded areas where the cat likes to hide. The cat likes to hide in the bushes. Some dark areas here. And somewhere around here there's a lawn, but this is such an overgrown area. So now that purple is starting to look white, isn't it? See? Because I'm putting all these dark, dark tones here in the tree that's next to the house and in the bushes that are up against the house. Yeah. Let's just keep adding darkness to this. I think it's helping. There, now we have our bushes. These are like rose bushes or something. I'll add the red roses a little bit. Put a couple of vines here, a couple of stems. There. All right, now I think the next thing I should do is I'm going to do a light, just a light wash of the green. That would be the grassy area. Let me lighten it up a little bit and get it more yellow. Oops, it's not coming out. All right, now in here, between the fence slats, we have to have some also. This fence, of course, is green. And a lot of this green, yellow, yellow, green, yellow, yellow. Let's try to put it in there. Let me get some yellow right here. Get it very yellow. Mix it in a little bit here. Very yellow. Trying to get this one bush over here to have a lot of yellow on it. There we go. The top of that bush needs to be lit like that. Some of this bush over here could be accentuated a little bit. Yeah, maybe there's some flyaway areas there. All right. Get this yellow over here. I want this one to be yellow also. And I'll come back to it and I'll add some of the darker greens to this bush here. And that looks good. And we're going to add some dark right over here. As dark as we can get it, right over here. And at the edge of some of these rocks also. Try to make them look like rocks. And over here, this darkness kind of blends with the rocks. The rocks and the shadow of the tree sort of come together as one. All right, now we're going to put some darkness between the slats of these fence posts. Here we go. Make them a little bit more defined. A little bit more. We can add some darkness here. Some more green. Some of the yellow in there. So this is kind of a mixture. This grass here, the lawn. I want the lawn to look like a light green. Just like that. Get some of these slats of this fence looking more like a fence. It's kind of a neat picture, isn't it? I like that shadow on that building. I think that was the thing that I wanted to do the most. Keeping some white on the lawn, I think by keeping some white on that lawn, it'll give it the effect of light, you know, sunshine coming across the yard. Maybe some of these areas back here are lit also. Not really sure what's back there, but just working on these here, these colors. Add some more darkness here. These are, and of course over here too, we can put some green here. I'm going to keep a little area here for some more flowers with colors. There. How am I doing with the focus? Am I staying focused? I'm just so conscious of that now. See, there's a thing, I read up on it, you can touch the screen and it'll refocus it. So that's what I'm trying to do. Let's refocus it. Just in case I messed up. Okay, let's just keep going. Just keep making some dark parts here. I have something else I want to talk to you about. I'll talk to you in the opening about it. It's card angels or card fairies, and it sounds like a really good idea because we've been doing that anyway. We just didn't have a name for it. So yeah, hopefully I talked about that in the beginning, because I always do the first thing you see on this video is always the last thing I actually record. Right now here, you see all this darkness is going to come together, and we're going to add some of that light, or that dark blue, to this fence to make it look more like dappled light. So we're going to do that in just a second. Okay, let's go ahead and add some more darkness over here for this bush. This bush is reaching up over here and coming over. There's a lot of this bush reaching over. So now that we have the fence there, we can sort of have fun by putting the leaves over here and over here also. I think it's important to kind of work this picture a little bit at a time. But you see it's starting to come together, right? And this is like a little house where you would live if you didn't need a big house. A little house that you would live in. Okay. Now let's get some of this in here. Okay. I'm purposely making this speckled. Put some little bit of leaves here. Yeah, the leaves are poking through. A little bit of darkness there. Do you hear that bird? I wonder what he's doing. What's the song mean? Does the song mean he's looking for a friend or a mate? Is that what the song means? Alright, little dots here. So I was asked, or I sent a note. Well, let's see, how do I say this? I got an email from Amazon asking me to rate this paint here, this watercolor paint that I'm using. It's from Winsor & Newton, and it's the Cotman watercolor. So I gave it a 5-star review because I love them, and I know that some of you have told me these are amateur paints and student paints, and I think my conclusion is that they're very good for these cards. And here's why I think maybe that's true. Not to disagree, because I think you're right, these are student grade paints. But I think what I'm doing here with these cards, because they're only 5x7, they're actually sketches, you know? And I think this is the perfect paint for sketching. I really do. I really think if you're going to go out and sketch something with the intent of making a larger picture later on, this paint is yours. This is what you should use, because you're not going to spend a lot of money on it, and it's going to be very helpful in doing a quick sketch of what you want to achieve, you know, and then later on apply it to a bigger canvas or a bigger sheet of paper, you know. So we have a tree back here, by the way. Yeah, so I gave it a good review, and then asked to put some photos on there, so I did. I showed, I think, 4 or 5 of the paintings I've done, and I wrote a little note that said I did all of these paintings with Winsor Newton Cotman, this brand right here. I did all of these paintings with this paint. I didn't use the examples where I also used gouache. Like this painting right here so far is all watercolor. So everything on this painting so far, but I am intending on putting some gouache on here, because some of the red flowers probably need to be more brilliant than this paint will allow me to do. This paint will look brilliant, but it won't look brilliant like on top of itself. So I have to use the gouache. That's my experience anyway. You might have a different, it might be different where you are or what you're doing. This is an interesting tree. I'm looking at the reference photo. As an artist, let me ask you something. Do you guys look at trees all the time? Like you look at them and say, I could paint that, or that would be weird to paint. Or, do you know what I think sometimes? I think if I painted that tree the way it looks, people would think I made a mistake. Because sometimes the trees look kind of weird. They have weird shapes, and people are so used to a certain shape of the tree. But not all trees have the same shape. So, anyway, there's some of our background trees. Let me put something kind of off the picture. A couple of branches here. Yeah, some things in the background there. Here we go. There's a little bit of something happening back there. A little bit of undefined stuff. It's always good to have a little bit of undefined. Alright, now I want to add a little bit more darkness to the undergrowth and to this area here. And then I'm going to start adding the flowers. How are we doing so far with time? We're doing okay? Sometimes I don't like to make these videos too long. I don't want to discourage anybody. A little darkness here and there. Just kind of keep adding to this look of rock. This picture has so many different elements to it. The rocks, the bushes, the house, the shadows. They're all working together to make one nice picture. All right, let me clean the brush. Now I want to go for that dark blue again, mixed with a little bit of orange, because I'm trying to get back to that shadow, these dappled shadows over here. So let's get them very, so there's shadows all over this fence, because there are plants just dropping shadows on everything. And over here too. So this dirty water kind of shadow. I'm going to use that dirty water shadow for the rocks also, I think. We have little areas where there's shadows happening. And maybe a few over here too on the house. Behind these trees. These bushes, they're going to be casting little shadows back here too. So I'll put them in there before I start putting the flowers in. A little bit of yellow ochre on these rocks. Make them look a little bit more like sandstones or something. All right, now back to the darkness. It has to be contrasted. What do you think so far? This white area right here I kept light for a reason. I hope I didn't make a mistake. Okay. A little more leaves over here. See how that looks like shadows now? Isn't that cool? All right, now these bushes are coming across, and this green stuff is happening everywhere. The earth is alive. The earth is alive and doing well. Planet Earth is doing well. And the sunlight is hitting the fence. This is why I wanted the fence, the house to be that light violet, because I wanted the fence to be kind of the brightest part in the picture. Okay, now guess what we get to do? We get to do the colorful flowers. So I'm going to use gouache for this, and I'm going to use this yellow, and I'm going to use this red, and I'm going to use this orange, and I'm going to use this titanium white, and I'm going to use, is this purple? Oh, that's burnt umber. Which one's the purple? Mauve. Mauve is what they call purple. I'm going to use that purple. So those are the colors I'm going to use. I'm going to use them wet. So I'm going to use my palette here. I'm going to put these colors onto the palette so that I can use them wet. Let me move the card so I can show you what I'm doing. I sure hope I'm not out of focus. Okay. Alright, now let's put a few blobs. There's our purple, I think. Or is that red? That's our red. Okay. Here's going to be our yellow. There's our yellow. We don't need much. Just a little bit. Can you see this? Is it focused? Here's the orange. Okay. Just a little bit. And a little bit of white. White always helps sometimes. Well, white sometimes helps always. That doesn't make sense. But anyway. And then the purple. I want some purple flowers in there. There. I think we got everything right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 colors. All right, let me put the... Whoa, my fingers got... That's a... See, when you get paint on your finger, that's asking for a problem. Now, let's get back to that little brush. Make sure I cleaned it out, otherwise everything will be dark. This is hopefully going to be fun. Let's see. Let's try the red first. Put some red flowers on here. Oh, see, the red is way too dark. That's why I use the white. Make it more like pink. Okay. Pink flowers right there. Well, now it's starting to look white. I don't want it to be white. I want it to be like reddish pink. Let me take some orange. Maybe that'll help. There's some red. It's not the best red. I could have found a better red maybe, but that's okay. It's working. It's got the red pinkish look. That's what I wanted. I want it to be red pinkish. So now we got these flowers peeking over the fence here. Okay. They look nice. Now I want to take some of these yellow ones over here. Make some bright yellow if I can. Put some white in there. White and yellow. White and yellow kill a fellow, isn't that? No, black and yellow. That's the thing for the snake, right? Black and yellow kill a fellow. Anyway, these little yellow flowers. And that purple, I wanted to use some of that over here. Just little areas over here where there were some purple flowers. And then on the house itself, we want some, they're on the house, so they're going to be much smaller looking. Yeah. That looks nice, right? Little flowers. This must have been a gardener who cared a lot. Remember that song by Elton John? It must have been a gardener who cared a lot. I must be thinking about John Lennon today, because I think that song was about John Lennon. That's a great line. Must have been a gardener who cared a lot. And I think that was the words of Bernie Taupin. So even though Elton John is the name on the record, I'm pretty sure Bernie Taupin is the writer of the words. Let's not forget lyricists. Let's not forget them. I'll put a little bit of yellow on this tree over here. I don't know if I want anything over here or not. Let me see if I want that. No. There's a few white flowers over there. Yeah, I think that's good enough. I think I can go back to the watercolor now and do a little bit of touch-ups, and then I think our picture is done. Let me clean the brush. I add some darkness, dark green around some of these purple areas I put over here. Also some darkness under these bushes, the places where the cats hide. Gosh, I kind of wish I was younger again and I could have a cat or a dog. I don't feel like at my age it would be a smart idea. But I used to love having a cat. I would come home, and my cat would always be waiting for me. And it's like a dog, you know, they say cats don't do that. Well, my cat did. My cat waited for me. It's like a dog, just waiting for me to come home. And my cat was a male, so did he act aloof? Yes. I think that's part of their personality, but not when I first got home. When I first got home, he was like happy to see me. Isn't that great? That was great. I had a dog too, so maybe that was it. Maybe the cat didn't want to be up, whatever, shown off. Maybe she didn't want to be up, whatever, by the dog. I don't know. You know what? I think I'm done. I think I'm going to leave it just like that. Except for the back of the card. Let me smudge that around. Let me make that a mess. So when the person gets the card, they can say, look at that mess that Poppa made. Poppa made a big mess right there. Let me just get some of this over here. See, it's very abstract. So when you get one of my cards, if you get the original, you get the card, you get the art, and you get the abstract art. How about that? Yeah, just smudge it around. That's good enough. I kind of like the way it came out. What do you think? I'm going to let that dry, but while I'm letting it dry, I want to read to you the poem that I promised. I almost forgot to read it. I was so involved with this painting. So the poem is called Rabbi Ben Ezra, and it's written by Robert Browning. We'll put this picture right. Can you see the picture? We'll use that picture as the focal point for the poem. Grow old along with me. The best is yet to be. The last of life for which the first was made. Our times are in his hand, who saith, a whole I planned. Youth shows but half. Trust God, see all, nor be afraid. Not that, amassing flowers, youth sighed, which rose make ours, which lily leave and then as best recall, not that, admiring stars, it yearned, nor Jove nor Mars. Mine be some figured flame which blends, transcends them all. That's the first two verses. You can look it up if you want to read the whole thing. It's really beautiful. It's rather long, but I just like it a lot. And of course I have John Lennon's song in my head as I'm reading that. Well, let me smear this a little bit more. Smear it like you do cream cheese on a bagel. Some of the pencil marks are still in there too. I'm not worried about that. That's okay. I will let it dry and I'll be right back to finish the video. Okay, well, it's dry. Let me fold it and make it a card. Right now it's just a piece of paper, but the magic is right now when you fold it, and then you can see the painting for what it is. What do you think? What would I do different? That's my question I always ask myself. Nothing. I wouldn't do anything different. I think I like this one just as it is. Alright, well, thank you for watching, for subscribing, and at the beginning of this video, which I'm going to record now because I recorded the first part last, I'm going to talk about a website. Well, you've already heard it, so what am I doing here? Alright, you guys take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye.